Mr. Greco?
Yes.
Mr. Lanto would like to, he's not going with any house counsel. He is wishing to represent himself. So today's the date and time set for the arraignment pretrial. He is in prosecutor room 1.
Okay. All right, very good. I'll be there.
Yeah. I'll be there.
Your guess is as good as mine. Don't think I made any headway with Mr. Greco.
Mr. People versus Lanto.
Your Honor, David Greco here on behalf of the city of Taylor.
And Mr. Lanto, your name for the record, please.
Well, I'm here in a conference room. Can I just come into the court?
If you'd like to, yeah, sure.
Okay, let's do this.
I'm bringing the recording up here.
Hello.
Morning. Good morning.
Morning. First, I'd like to recall the case of City of Taylor versus Joshua Lanto, case number 2022-22-2024-OM-OM. That case was dismissed without prejudice, which is against my wishes, and which is why I chose to speak for myself in the court of law today. Just let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm just
Appreciate that.
on the technical. I prefer everything to just be in person, just old school look. Not my call. All right, so let's get back to what I was doing. Case 230877 OM People versus Lanto. Mr. Greco, you already placed your appearance. Sir, your name for the record, please.
Joshua Lanto.
All right. So today's the date and time set for an arraignment and pretrial in this matter. First off, as to the arraignment, sir, you do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you at trial. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you by the court of public expense. Do you understand those rights?
I understand the rights that you just told me.
Sir, are you choosing, I do have a court appointed attorney here. Are you choosing to represent yourself today?
I am choosing to speak for myself.
Well, let's just represent,
Yeah.
speak.
I mean, in legally.
Tomato,
represent.
tomato.
Yeah,
So-
no, you can't represent.
No, just
I just
at any point, if you do wish to have a court appointed attorney, please let the court know so that I can effectuate that right in your wishes with regard to it.
I appreciate that.
Now, with regard to the alleged charges in this matter, it is alleged that with regard to the arraignment, do you wish me to read the complaint or would you like to waive the formal reading?
If you'd like to read it into the record, I'd appreciate that.
Sure. Okay. All right, it is alleged, it is alleged that on November 17th of 2022, that you, in count 1, that you violated City Ordinance 32-31, commonly known as interfering with the police authority. That's a misdemeanor punishable by 93 days in jail and or up to $500 in fines. In count 2, it is alleged that you violated City Ordinance 32-31, interfering with a police authority. Again, that's a misdemeanor punishable by 93 days in jail and or up to $500 in fine. In count 3, it is alleged that you violated City Ordinance 32-31, commonly known as interfering with police authority. And again, that's a misdemeanor punishable by 93 days in jail and or up to $500 in fines. As to those charges, how do you plead?
Well, I'm not prepared to make a plea at this time.
I don't
because-
recognize you as standing mute, and I'll enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf.
Well, if I could just object to that for just a moment. Because you did say, which is why I was trying to recall the matter of City versus Taylor versus Joshua Lanto in the previous case, because you said in that arraignment that I have the right to be informed of the cause and nature of the charges, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so obviously that case
Did you
got.
get a copy of the complaint? Are you talking about in this matter?
No, I haven't seen anything. As a matter of fact, I've requested
Sure, well,
discovery from your house counsel several times and they have not given it
But
to
this
me.
case hasn't even started yet. This case is just,
Right, so the case.
it's not the arraignment stage. right?
Yeah, so the case that I wanted to recall, because I had the right to be informed of the cause and nature of the charges in that case, but it's clear
But that's
that,
not the case that's on my docket.
but that's why I wanted to recall that case, because this stems from the same incident, so it's almost
You're
like.
saying recall is a, because there's two different meanings of the word recall. Recall is to remember, or recall is to actually call that case.
I would actually like to call that case because it was dismissed without prejudice. And I wanted to be dismissed with prejudice. And I made it clear to House Counsel that I had expenses when it came to that case.
Okay.
I think it's only
You need to
fair.
So just from a procedural standpoint, it's not on the docket today. Due and timely notice wasn't given to the court nor to Mr. Greco about your desire to do anything with that case. So you need to motion that up for a motion.
But we are on record, right?
But we are on the record, and
Okay.
and let the record reflect that I'm telling you that procedurally, you need to, if you have anything you want to do with some other case that isn't the case that's set for this docket today.
Yeah.
File a motion, file it with whoever you're going to serve obviously the other side, serve a copy on the court. The court will set it for a motion date.
Yeah, I
Then
appreciate that.
that case will be brought, and then everybody will be knowingly and voluntarily present, and they will be given all the notice ahead of time of what it is you want to do.
Okay, well, I appreciate that because, and that actually speaks to the arraignment that we're doing here
This is
right
sort of
now.
different, this is a different situation. The arraignment today is just simply, I'm telling you what your charges are. I'm telling you what your constitutional rights are with regard to an arraignment. Then I'm asking either for, how do you plead? You can either plead guilty, not guilty, or you cannot answer that question, and in which case the court will automatically enter recognize you as standing mute and enter a plea of not guilty on your behalf, so that it preserves your not guilty status and it preserves your constitutional rights.
And one of those constitutional rights that you've explained to me is that I have the right to be informed of the cause and nature of the charges. And my point. to
That's
bring-
correct, and that's why I just told you that you were, the count one is alleged that you violated city ordinance 32-31, commonly known with interfering with police authority. Now, if you'd like me to read the expanded complaint, I can read the expanded complaint to you.
Well, may I just speak without being interrupted for a minute?
But first off, I'm not interrupting you. Second, I'm just making sure that things are procedurally done correct. Third, I'm gonna advise you that anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have a right to remain silent.
I understand.
So if you choose to say anything,
Well, the reason I'm asking questions about the cause and the nature of the charges is because on the last case that got dismissed, it was clear
you
that
gotta stop referencing the last case, because that's a separate case. Whatever happened with
we have
that
the same
case,
thing going on
is
in
that
this
case.
case. We have a similar situation in this case, whereas I don't know if the prosecutor understands the cause and the nature of the charges because he had to dismiss the last case.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
So how
I'm about to
so-
then let me read the complaint to you.
Okay,
Let me make sure you get a copy of the complaint.
right?
So,
And I saw your YouTube channel on I saw your video on YouTube. where you
First off, it's
explained-
not my YouTube channel. It's
Well,
something that's forced upon me
yeah.
that I'm required to do because there's a court order signed by my chief judge. I prefer to do all my cases in person, but I'm required to broadcast them live because
Well, I certainly appreciate any government entity willing to use transparency to
Oh,
put the truth on the table is
I'm
100% on the
transparent.
favor for, because.
I don't have anything to hide. I don't do anything wrong. I don't have any.
You did explain
nefarious
factual
features.
evidence of jurisdiction, though, and you did explain it for about the better part of a half hour to a guy. Last time I was on
Because
Zoom,
you-
I was told I was crazy for
Didn't-
talking like that.
You didn't understand me, so.
Right, but I was told I was talking crazy for asking for it.
No, not at all.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. Okay, that's
You
first and
can
foremost.
always, challenge jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is something you can even challenge for the first time on appeal. One of the only things you can challenge for the first time on appeal.
Well, luckily,
So
we have
we-
about 160 people watching this right now that have heard that for the first time that
But-
probably don't understand that.
I get it. A lot of people watch a couple of things on YouTube or a couple of things on Google, and they think they become a legal
Well,
scholar.
let's be honest, they watch Law and Order and then they think they're experts on the law.
I can't watch them.
Me neither.
I should.
It's actually painful to watch that sort of stuff,
It's entertainment. That's exactly.
It
what
is. It's meant for entertainment.
It's not.
right? On the last case that was here though, I just have a few other clarifications. I need
Listen,
to make.
again, I'm not gonna discuss on the record any other cases that are no longer.
No, this isn't in regards to another case. This is in regards to my case and what happened.
This case right here.
Yeah, in this case, right, yeah.
Again, before you start discussing the facts of this case, I am gonna caution you that you have the right.
Fifth
to
Amendment,
decide
yeah,
that.
and I don't sign anything, so I'm just.
That's a copy of the.
Okay,
warrant.
okay, appreciate that. And now
Wait,
is
warrant.
there,
So now I'm going to read into the record what the allegations are.
okay,
All right, so it is alleged that on November the 17th, 2022, that you violated city ordinance, chapter 32, article 2, section 32-31, interfering with police authority, which states it shall be unlawful for any person within the city to resist any police officer, any member of the police department, or any person duly empowered with police authority while in the discharge or apparent discharge of their police authority duty, or in any way to interfere with or hinder the police officer or member of the police department in the discharge of the police authority duty.
and
It is
just a
alleged.
quick objection, just a point of clarification.
There's no objection to that because that's just that is the ordinance.
Okay,
Literally
if you're
read the
just reading
ordinance
it into the record, I understand.
don't make the ordinance. That's
Yeah,
the
I just
legislative
want to know what
ordinance.
in any way means in this charge. What does
Again-
in any way mean?
Again, I can't answer that question because for me to answer that question would be me giving you legal advice. You want to file a motion? You can more than welcome to file a
Yeah,
motion.
because in any way
And I can
seems
make a
awfully
rule.
vague and it seems obtuse and it seems like it's just
These are all
impossible to.
great things that one somebody might want to argue in a motion.
Yeah, it
Not
seems
just-
impossible to determine what in any
So,
way.
but if you could, please don't interrupt me until I get down to the bottom here, because I want to let you know exactly what the allegations are against you from a factual basis. These are the reasons that the warrant was signed, because I found that there was probable cause that a crime was committed and probable cause that you were the one who committed the crime. Hence why the warrant was placed into existence in the first place. It is alleged that on the above listed date, which was the 11/17/22, at approximately 2:50 p.m., you, the defendant, Mr. Lanto, engaged in a repeated course of conduct to interfere with Officer Andrew Borg's discharge of his authorized duties, which include traffic enforcement on South Telegraph Road near Ecorse Road in the city of Taylor. You, Mr. Lanto, allegedly had unlawful actions, including following Officer Borg on multiple traffic stops, approaching the traffic stops in the close proximity to Officer Borg and his vehicle and the drivers, yelling obscenities and insults at Officer Borg, and video recording Officer Borg while inside of his patrol vehicle while he was accessing protected lien information concerning the drivers that were pulled over. It's also alleged, Mr. Lanto, you were ultimately arrested after Officer David Jones witnessed you walking within close proximity to Officer Borg's vehicle during a traffic stop and attempting to video record Officer Borg while he was inside his patrol vehicle accessing lien information about the driver. In count one, more specifically, in count one, the violation of section 32-31, interfering with the police authority, you, Mr. Lanto, the defendant, allegedly approached the traffic stop at approximately 3:04 p.m. and interfered with Officer Borg by being in close proximity to Officer Borg, his patrol vehicle, and the pulled over driver in the center median of Telegraph Road, and yelling and hurling insults and obscenities while Officer Borg was discharging his police authority duty. In count two, violation of section 32-31, interfering with police authority, you, the defendant, Mr. Lanto, allegedly approached the traffic stop at approximately 3:12 p.m. and interfered with Officer Borg by being in close proximity to Officer Borg, his patrol vehicle, his patrol car, and the pulled over driver, the parking lot of the Tropical Smoothie Cafe, and yelling and hurling insults and obscenities while Officer Borg was discharging his police authority duty. In count three, it is alleged a violation of section 32-31, interfering with a police officer, that you, the defendant, Mr. Lanto, allegedly approached the traffic stop at approximately 3:31 p.m. and interfered with Officer Borg by being in close proximity to Officer Borg, his patrol car, and the pulled over driver in a parking lot on South Telegraph Road, and attempting to video record Officer Borg while he was inside of his patrol vehicle, accessing lien information about the driver, and otherwise discharging his police authority. Again, those are misdemeanors punishable by 93 days in jail and or up to $500 in fines. Those are the factual basis which gave rise to probable cause to execute this warrant, and now is being charged against you. Again, you have the right to remain silent. Again, you do have the right to have counsel at any given time. You're choosing today. As to those charges and the allegations, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or you stand mute?
Well, I have to make a few clarifications before I make an informed.
This isn't a matter of clarifications. This is you either pleading guilty, not guilty, or standing mute.
Well, I was told I have the right to be informed of the cause and the nature of the charges.
Just did.
You just read this into the record, and all it did was confuse.
I did.
So, because we have right in here that Officer Bo, or I was told
Listen,
it was in
I'm not-
close proximity of
Sure.
Officer Bo.
I'm not
What
going to
is-
get
what
into
is
the
close
particulars.
proximity?
Listen, I'm not going to get into the particulars. This isn't the trial. This is, nobody's sworn in under oath. There's a subject to cross-examination by both sides. That's what trials are for.
Okay,
That's what trials are for.
before I make an
This is
informed.
just these things. So I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to either choose guilty, not guilty, or just don't say anything. Or if you're not responsive, then I'll just enter a plea of not guilty so that your not guilty status is preserved and your constitutional rights preserved there as well.
Well,
So how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty?
I object for clarification.
Sure. Guilty or not guilty?
Well, I object to that because I can't make an informed plea today.
All right, then I'm gonna
Unless I have-
enter
unless I have
enter a plea of
any-
not guilty on your behalf. So you're still not guilty on your behalf, and you have the
Well,
right
and
to.
then just let the record show I do not want a plea being made for me. Just, you understand why I have to
There's
say that on the record.
there's no choice in the matter. I'm procedurally required to move forward by doing one of the three. So,
Well, I was told when it pertains to this case at the last proceeding that was here, and I don't know who you had stand in for you.
I don't pick.
It was a bald guy,
My
you look
father
like a
passed
mob
away.
boss.
Don't know. My father passed away, and I had to not be here, so.
Yeah, and he ordered me in here in person, said he was gonna have somebody watch over me, which sounded like a veiled
Don't know.
threat.
So again, I wasn't here. I wasn't presiding over that case at the time.
Well, if it's true that he did that, would you perceive that as a veiled threat?
I'm not gonna answer that question, sir, because it's not the time or the
Yeah.
place for it. No others have been given any due
Well,
time
but this-
notice of anybody, and nobody's been advised in the premises of any of that information, so, again.
Well, I have the video if you'd like to watch it. He ordered me in
Again,
here in
it's
person,
not-
said he was gonna
Today's
have.
the date time set for an arraignment.
Yeah,
Today's the date and time set for the arraignment.
well, I'm just saying,
That's all we're doing today is the arraignment, and it's also set for a pretrial. So you have the opportunity to speak now that you've been advised in the premises of what you've been charged with. I've entered a plea of not guilty for you. Would you like to speak with Mr. Greco about any potential resolution?
there were a few key things
Would
that
you
were
like to
said.
speak with Mr. Greco about any potential resolution?
Well, can I just make a clarification on the record?
I don't know what more you're gonna clarify. Today's purpose of today is for me to inform you of what you've been charged with.
I
I have
understand,
done that.
I
And
understand,
now
but when
I
you
have
had
other
that,
cases that I need to get to. This is why cases are scheduled in certain ways and with
well, I'd be
regard
happy to be
certain
the last
stuff.
case called today, so
So,
we
what's
can
that?
properly, clarify a couple things. I'd be happy to be the last case called, so we can properly clarify a few
Well,
things.
first off, there's nothing to clarify. I've told
But
you
there
what
are.
I've been charged with. There's not. So I'm gonna ask you right now, to either talk with Mr. Greco and have a pretrial discussion with him. You're more than welcome to do that.
Could I just tell you what was
Your
said
Honor,
on the record?
Your Honor,
The last case,
The last
in
proceeding,
regards to this case.
in regards to this case, because this is the first time I've seen
The
it.
judge said on the record that he was powerless to make Mr. Greco provide anything regarding factual evidence jurisdiction.
Until the arraignment kicks in, yes, they're not gonna be, because the case doesn't start until it's actually you've been told what you're being charged with.
Right, because he said he can't make him produce the factual evidence jurisdiction. That's what the judge said at the last.
I wasn't there and I wasn't the judge. What I'm telling you is this, I have told you exactly what you're being charged with.
Okay.
There is an order in here for discovery. If you want an order for discovery, if you want to get a chance to have discovery, absolutely. If there's anything that's out there discoverable, then you have every right to go and get it in preparation for trial.
Well, let's do
But
that.
that's
Let's
not
move
today.
this forward because
That's not
I have a
today.
feeling, I have a feeling I need to inform you of a few things that pertain to the York Police Department here. And I actually.
First off, if it has to do with the case, I can't take in anything from outside of the case. There's a reason that hearsay is not part of cases. Why? Because they're literally by definition an out-of-court statement being used to prove the truth of the matter asserted under Rule of Evidence 801.
Well, you've
That's
got
literally the
officers that
definition.
are lying.
So if
you've
you're,
got- Yeah.
So if you're telling me stuff right now, one, you're not under oath, so I could care less. Two, this isn't the trial.
Would you like to put me under oath?
No, I want to set this up for, if you want a trial, I'll give you a trial. That's what
I
I'm
mean, if
saying.
you want to see what happened.
And again, all of that would be done at a trial. If you're gonna bring in evidence, it has to have foundations. You have to lay a foundation for every piece of evidence.
Well, then,
Evidence doesn't just come in. It has to be factually accurate and it has to be reliable.
okay,
If they're
so,
not both, that's how you lay a foundation for evidence. I have a scale in my garage. Every time I get on it, it says, oh, I weigh 187 pounds. I love that scale. Mwah. It's very reliable. Every time, 187. Mwah. Guess what? The scale's not accurate. It's reliable, but it's not accurate. All evidence has to, and that's what we do at trial. Today is just the day when I'm telling you, this is what you're facing. This is what they are alleging that you did. And if you'd like to set it for a trial, you can do so. If you'd like to have the assistance of an attorney, I'll make sure you have an attorney present with you. Even if you just want them riding shotgun with you, so you can ask questions about the rules of evidence and things like that. I'm not sure what I don't know if you have.
well, that's the only reason I would ask for
I don't know
counsel.
if you have a Juris Doctorate. I don't know what you know. I don't know what you studied. And I'm just telling you, that's why you have a right to assistance of counsel. If you'd like it at any time from now until the trial.
For administrative
I'll still-
purposes only, but I will speak for myself in the court of law. I do not want anybody speaking for me.
Sure.
And they did that for me up in Pontiac. They gave me standby counsel.
Again, you're talking about some kind of case that I have nothing to do with.
I'm just wondering. if it's the same
Trust
down
me,
here in
trust me,
Taylor,
I don't
it's
need,
up in
I don't,
Pontiac, 'cause
trust
we're
me,
all in
while I appreciate it, I don't need any examples, because I teach all this stuff. I know exactly every example.
So, and I'm pretty sure you know what Houston still says about police interference.
So, again, if you want an attorney, I'm gonna let you have an attorney. If you don't want an attorney, you wanna speak for yourself and represent yourself, you have a God-given constitutional right to
Because
represent
Houston
yourself.
still says that.
So,
And you know, I just noticed that I had the microphone to me muted the whole time. So there's about 6 minutes left. We'll leave that to be for the evening session, and then we'll go into what the evening session normally would be. Thank you for watching from day one. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you tonight.